What's going on, fish nerds, and welcome back. We have got another fish store tour today. We are at Hook Aquatics, and this used to be known as Top Shelf Aquatics, which we have been to before, but they have a new location, they have a new name, and they have a new stock list. And that's actually kind of been true all the time, back when it was Top Shelf, and now as Hook. He's getting new stuff in all the time, and they've got everything from cichlids, South American cichlids, African cichlids, to community fish, some oddball fish. They've got a really great selection, over 50 tanks. They've got a few saltwater tanks as well. I don't show any of those up close in this video, but you can see they've got a big selection here. And we're going to go through each tank one by one. And right here in tank number one, we've got a big, pretty green phantom pleco. And also a gold spot severum right there hanging out. It's a couple of great fish right off the bat. I love the green phantom plecos, which I love plecos in general. But also in the same tank, they had some longfin Oscars. You can see that red Oscar back in the back. He was really cool. But this other Oscar here just kind of kept trying to hog the limelight. No matter what fish I tried to film, he was coming right up to the camera there. But we've also got some bandit cichlids. You can see there, those guys with their stripe across their eye. And there's some Geophagus cernamensis in here as well that we'll take a look at. But look at this Ocellaris peacock bass. There's a couple of those in there, and just gorgeous color on there. The Ocellaris may be some of my favorite peacock bass. Really pretty fish. But you got a severum there, and I mean, look at those geos. Just gorgeous cernamensis, which I really like geos anyway. But very nice tank, very fun to look at. And some very, very nice looking fish, I just have to say. Which, again, that's pretty much always true. Every time I've ever been to Hook, Top Shelf, you know, under either name, every time I've been impressed with their fish. And here we've got a whole bunch of African cichlids in here. We got some blue dolphins. There's a Venustus, excuse me. Copetochromis burleyi in here. There's cobalt blue, a Kawinji, if I'm pronouncing that right. There's that blue dolphin down there. Protolamus annectans in here. Buccochromis heterotania. Nyasochromis bodzulu, if I'm pronouncing that correct. Blue lip williamsi in here as well, and Lethrinops redcap, Pediotilapia thickbar, if I'm pronouncing Pediotilapia correctly, but you can see the big thick bar in there, and Bleakeri in this tank as well. And I'm going to try to do a lot better in this video of actually naming off the African cichlids. Usually when I go to a store and I see Africans, I just kind of glance over them and say, oh, they've got some African cichlids. I'm going to try to do better of actually calling off what all is in the tank this time. And it should go, you know, at least somewhat well, because I actually wrote down all the fish that were in the tank, at least of what was written on the glass. But really nice looking tank here with a lot of nice looking fish. This little blue guy here, I'm sure I called off his name a minute ago, but not sure which one he is. There's that thick bar. Really pretty fish. And you guys know I love a Venustus. I love that guy. One of my favorites. And then coming over here to tank number 3. Here we go. We got some lemon Oscars. I guess albino lemon Oscars. There's some fire mouths in here. You can see those guys. They're hanging out. They're chilling. Having themselves a good time. This is some nice looking fire mouth. I'm not going to lie. These guys were nice looking. And showed some good personality too. You got a big chocolate cichlid here in the PVC cave. Hiding down here. And we've got pike cichlid. There's one of the pike cichlids there. There's a couple of those in this tank. Pike cichlids are really cool. I like the pike cichlids. Several cool South American cichlids in this tank. You got a clown loach chilling out there in the back as well. But I mean, we've got, according to the list, we've got chocolate cichlids, fire mouths, lemon Oscars, pike cichlids, which we've seen all of those. You got the blue Acara there, back there. We got gold severums, Rio Negro severums, the clown loach, longfin albino bristlenose in there somewhere, and we'll get to it here. Oh, look at that chocolate cichlid. He's cool looking. Chocolate cichlid, in my opinion, is an underrated cichlid. Big, peaceful guy, and that's a nice looking pike cichlid there as well. Down on the right, if I'm trying to time this right, doing voiceover, and it's a little more difficult than you would imagine trying to remember when you went to a particular fish to talk about it. But there's a gold cloud pleco in this tank that is absolutely gorgeous. Not to take away from that chocolate cichlid that we just moved away from. He was really pretty as well. Oh, but there we go. There's the gold cloud pleco. Really nice looking guy. Gold clouds are always a winner in my opinion. They got those beautiful white spots on that black body. Really nice looking pleco. But as always, when you're filming in a fish store, you're always going to fight against the glare, so I apologize for that. It's just something that comes along with the territory of trying to film a fish room, or especially a fish store, because they got to have the store well lit. You can't just cut everything off like if you're doing a fish room. And you got the clown loach back there. Now coming over to tank number 4, we got a zebra obliquidens hanging right out here. Coming up to say hello. We got albino compressiceps back there in the back. You can see him. Malawi trout and a johnstoni all in this tank. Another good looking tank with some good looking fish. And I'm trying to do better about learning my African cichlids. And yes, I confess already that I basically just wrote down all the names from the tanks, but I have actually been doing some research to learn more about all the different African cichlids, so that I can be a little more well versed. Partly because ever since I've been to Primetime Aquatics Fish Room, I'm planning on getting more into African cichlids myself, and South American cichlids as well. But I'm going to venture into the lake cichlids for the first time here soon. That's the plan anyway. But check out the schooling fish in here. We've got the Congo tetras and a lot of males in all these Congo tetras. Very pretty. And we've got some electric blue rams in here we'll see here in a little bit. These blue emperor tetras though, very nice looking fish. Very cool. And kind of all schooling together with the Congo tetras, having so many of both of them. They're kind of all mixed together, which is fine. But very cool looking blue emperor tetras. And of course the Congo tetras, we already said. We got dwarf neon rainbows. You can see those swimming all around in there. Everybody loves the dwarf neon rainbows, myself included. We got a big Hypancistris L404 hanging out down here. Got some rainbow sharks in here, some Corydoras. And it's a Corydora melanitania is in this tank. We got some rainbow sharks there. Ancistris aguabanensis is in this tank as well. I may have mixed up which pleco is which, but check out that electric blue ram. How about him? Very pretty fish. I like all the rams. I like the Bolivian rams, I like the German rams, I like the electric blue rams, I like the gold rams, I like the dark night rams, I like them all. But there's your true inspector pleco. Check him out. That's a cool looking fish right there. Very cool pleco. I am a fan of spotted plecos, if you guys haven't noticed. And over here we got some black angelfish. We've got some longfin pandacories in this tank as well. We'll see here in a minute. We've got Apisto pandarini is what we're seeing here. We've got a chubby pleco in here. We've got Corydoras Venezuela black in here as well. Tetras. We've got a red belly Acara Matagrosso. Was that cichlid we saw a second ago. Corydoras rebauti. And we've got some daisy rice fish in this tank that are absolutely gorgeous. And the past 2 times that I've been here, he's had the daisy rice fish, and I've been very tempted both times. They got those beautiful blue eyes, and the camera doesn't do their color justice when you're dealing with store lighting and putting things on camera instead of just seeing them in person. It just doesn't come across. But over here we've got a lot more cichlids again, and we've got some Kippley calvus, red sunshine peacock in here. I'm just gonna go through this instead of trying to say which one is right up front. But we've got albino Taiwan reef in here, Lethrinops marginatus, liliupai. I'm pretty sure that's the liliupai right there. Ivory head melodo, which I think may have actually been sold already, unless there's a juvenile in here. Albino longfin bristlenose, a golden blue eye, gold cloud pleco. Here we go. This is what I was thinking of earlier, and you saw a glimpse of him there in the PVC pipe. We'll come back to it. But the gold cloud pleco, look at him. That's a pretty fish right there. Gorgeous pleco. And there's some zebra synodontis in this tank as well. I don't know if I caught those on film. But here in the next tank, we've got some OB zebras in here. We got some red hump geophagus, Geophagus brasiliensis, there's a green terror, some tomato haps, blue neon. We got some salvini. You guys saw the salvini there. And some spotted hypostomus. It sounds like somebody's flying over my house in a small prop airplane or something. I don't know if that's coming into the microphone, but if it is, I apologize. Alright, here we got some Exochromis anagenes, if I'm pronouncing that right. No, I'm sorry, wrong tank. Lawanda Obi Red Empress, Lithobates Zimbabwe Rock, Saffron Peacock, Novochromis Chrysogaster, Cinetilapia Lion's Cove are all in this tank. And I have no idea which ones are which, but that's what was written on the front of the tank. Now here we go. This is Exochromis anagenes, Placidochromis Mdoka white lips. Now the Mdoka white lips I do recognize because it's obvious they have the white lips. But that is a cichlid that I actually know about. My brother-in-law was very excited to find out that these were in stock here. I don't know if he ever actually came and got any, but you see the yellowhead Chitandi peacock there in this tank as well. He had a lot of peacocks in stock, which, spoiler alert, is good for me because I am planning a peacock tank, but it won't be mine. I'm going to be converting the 75 for my wife. And we've got some Vieja here in this tank, some juveniles, two different kinds. We got the Vieja regani and the Vieja argentea, both in this tank. And I apologize, the blue light above this aquarium did not play well with the camera. So not a great view of those guys. But here in this tank, we got lemon jakes. We've got this, look at this sunshine peacock. He's gorgeous. We got a Kaningsi peacock, a red shoulder peacock in here, a red empress, an imperial tigress, Johnstoni solo, Aristochromis christii, Malawi hawk, Hemitilapia oxyrhynchus, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Bleakeri, Borlei, and I think there had been or was still a dwarf giraffe catfish in this tank as well, and the electric blue friar eye. So many gorgeous haps and peacocks in this tank, and that is what we're planning on doing with the 75 gallon in the fish room. I have redistributed the fish that had been in that tank. They've been moved to other tanks in the fish room, and I have broken down the 75, and we're going to reset that tank and allow my wife to come into the store with me, and she's going to pick out the male peacocks and haps that she wants for the 75 gallon, and we're going to have an all male peacock hap tank, because while we were at Aquashella, my wife says to me, you should let me set up a tank in your fish room the way I like it. And I said, I'm all for that. And so we walked through all the different fish that were there, and she decided that peacocks were her favorite, so that's what we're gonna do. And you can see a young lemon jake undu there, and some albino sunshine peacocks in here as well in this tank. And I will also apologize for my voice. Here I am doing voiceover, and I have had a cold for the past 2 weeks, so I apologize for that. In this tank, we've got some big plecos in here with some Eureka red juveniles. These guys were kind of hanging out back, but had a couple of nice big plecos in here with them. Had several of these juvenile Eureka reds in here. Right, and over here we've got some red top Ndumbi and some Cincinnati white tops in this tank, and everybody here was very skittish. You can see some through the hole in that pot back there hanging out back in the back, but nobody wanted to come out and say hello for the camera in this tank. This guy's kind of peeking out there a little bit, and I think maybe I get a little better view over here once we come over to the right. A few people hiding out in these rocks, yeah, a little bit, but not a whole lot going on right here. Now these guys, the Labidochromis rouware, if I'm pronouncing rouware correctly, these are basically yellow labs, except they are a darker strain. Instead of the bright electric yellow, they've got a little bit more of a darker orangey tint to them. Very pretty fish, and you can see that. I love the bold black mohawks on the labs, but there's also some Cincinnati Afro Jalo Reef in there with them as well. And then coming down here, we got some Capitochromis Azurius and Synodontis eupterus hanging out down here. Again, not exactly excited about me being down there in front of their tank with the camera. Not really wanting to come out and say hello, but maybe we can get a look at these Synodontis. Most of the Synodontis, I think, are very neat catfish, but they don't always want to come out and say hello. But pretty good shot of this guy here popping up, and then I turn around and here's this guy just posing for me, just hanging out. That's a neat looking catfish, I'm gonna say. They've got some cool leopard spotting pattern. Pretty neat little Synodontis there. Then here we got some Caningsi as well as some Otopharynx Blue Nova here in this tank. He had a whole lot of cichlids in stock, and don't worry, we're only about halfway through this store tour, so it's not going to be all cichlids, but he kind of had most of them on one side of the store, so kind of the first half is mostly cichlids, and we'll get to the community fish here in a second. But these were not blue neon tetras, contrary to what was written on the tank, but we got some nice looking peacocks in here. The lighting's not great just because there was no light above the tank. But you can see that is a nice looking peacock. Very nice looking fish. And I'm not gonna lie, the peacocks were my wife's idea, but I'm 100% on board because I have definitely become a fan of these beautiful fish. Coming over here, we got some angels, some veil angels, some koi angels, as well as the gold severum. And there's some curviceps in this tank as well. You can see the little curviceps hanging out down there. Nice little small dwarfish cichlid. Kind of a cool little guy. There's been a lot of fish that I had never heard of until I looked on Blue Hook's website and saw that they had something in stock, and then looked it up, and I've learned several new fish just through this store because they do a good job of bringing in stock that you don't necessarily always find at an LFS. Here we've got some Placidochromis Electra Lundo, as well as some Lethrinops albus candy here in this tank. Some more cool cichlids. Again, not that I'm too familiar with them, but I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. And you can see we've got some yellowtail ACI in here. Really pretty fish. Some Obi labiatropheus fuliborni, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I'm going to say that a lot. I've probably said if I'm saying that correctly or pronouncing that correctly like half a dozen times already in this video, and I apologize, guys. But also some ice blue red top zebras in this tank as well. This was a fun tank to sit and watch. And we've got here in the next tank some F1 Mylochromis laterastriga, and some Lethrinops embossi, and some slim buffalo head. And these guys here with the stripes, that's a cool looking fish. But these slim buffalo heads were really fun to watch. And I missed on camera. I saw it with my eyes when I had the camera pointed a different direction. There was like a big flurry of activity from these slim buffalo heads, and they were really fun to watch. And they're just kind of popping in and around the rocks and scurrying around and kind of schooling but not really schooling, and kind of skittish but not really skittish, and kind of popping in and out. And just watching these guys here in the store made me think it would be really cool to have a group of these at home myself and just set up a tank with some rock work and just watch these guys do their thing, popping in and out. And this guy here, he's got some nice blue color on him. Look at this guy. That's just a neat looking fish. And then just the way they acted was just so fun to watch too. So I am officially a fan of those slim buffalo heads for sure, 100%. And then here we got some Autopharynx heterodon and some Mylochromis anaphermis. Nice big cichlids hanging out in here. Not the most colorful fish, but like I said, this is a store that will bring in things that you don't necessarily always find at a, especially not at a box store. But if you are a cichlid enthusiast, Dave can get you, he can get you set up. And then here we've got some Dovi and some Synodontis ocellifer. I mean, the Dovi they're doing what Dovi do. Some juvies there, but check out this Synodontis ocellifer. These are definitely one of my favorite Synodontis. The ocellifer, they just got that cool spotted pattern. And I mean, I guess it's the thing. I like spotted fish. I said it about the plecos earlier. I'm saying it about the Synodontis now. I'm going to say it about the hoplocats here in a little while. I like spotted fish. There, it's out there. And you guys know now. And over here we got a red devil, a couple red devils in here. Some Salvini, Jack Dempsey's in here. We got some green Texas and Texas cichlids in here. There's a Compressiceps hanging out in here. Nicaraguensis, that's a pretty fish right there. Those nice pink cheeks. Really pretty fish. And Geophagus brasiliensis in here as well. Again, we all know I like the geos. And some redhead synspilum in here as well. And check out this dude. That guy's color is just awesome. The dark black with the blue. Really cool looking guy. Got a big common pleco. That guy sold right after I filmed this clip. I basically filmed this clip and then they came over and scooped him up. But several very cool South and Central American cichlids here. Very nice fish. I don't hate me a nice mean cichlid. I've said that about jaguar cichlids before, that, you know, sometimes I feel like it'd be worth it. Sometimes I feel like, you know what, by the time I set up a big old tank for something that's just going to be by itself because it's horribly nasty to everything and I love how much it would hate me, that, you know, might be worth it just because of the attitude. And look at that Salvini. That was just beautiful. But then at the same time, sometimes I'm like, you know what? I could fill that space with so many more fish if you go a different route. But it is what it is. Here we got some Paratilapia poleni An otter PT Jake is in here. An albino Kyogre flameback in here as well. And Buccochromis spectabilis and Tiger Nasuda all in this tank. All fish that I'm not going to be able to tell you which one's which. Except maybe that Jake there. But still. And this tank is one we all know what these are, right? The Burmese archers, the clouded archer fish. A lot of people know about these because of Aquarium Co-op putting these in the 800-gallon. This is a cool fish. And it's a true freshwater archer fish. They don't need the brackish water. And very neat, and I think it's very cool that Blue Hook has been keeping these in stock. The past 2 times I've been there, they've had those, and that's just a super cool fish, I think. Got the brick sword tails, not swordfish, sword tails. There's Midnight Peacock in here, and some Synodontis schudentii hanging out in here as well. I would have liked to see the adult of these Midnight Peacocks. He had the juveniles in there, but it's very pretty fish in adult coloration. Here we got some Polypterus. You got the albino, and then we've got the ornate here. And this guy, he just comes up and he's like, hey, what's up, man? You filming things? Here, let me pose for you. Let me show you how awesome looking I am. Come check me out, man. He just comes right up to the glass like he's saying hello, and then he just kind of strikes a pose for me here. You'll see in a second. He just kind of turns off and he's like, bam, check me out. Look at this. Can't handle this. I'm ornate, man. Check me out. I'm special. And then after he's done posing, he just kind of turns around. He's like, all right, you've had enough. See ya. And up here, we got a big school of the gold white clouds. I guess there's some mystery snails in here as well. I had written that down, but big school of the gold white clouds. And then coming down here, these are the marbled hoplocats. And again, spotted fish. It's a catfish. Maybe it's just catfish. Spotted catfish. You know, you got the Synodontis, you got the hoplos, and you got the plecos. I mean, they're all different species of catfish. And, you know, the ones with spots on them, I'm just a sucker for them. Stripes, too. I mean, let's face it. Here we got some platinum angels. Really pretty platinum angels. I mean, look at those guys. Absolutely gorgeous. And then what I think is one of the most underrated community fish available because they're so common, the zebra danios. Love those guys. Active all over the tank all the time. And there's some Siamese algae eaters in here as well. But, man, those platinum angels. Gotta love those guys. Beautiful fish. And here we got some emerald rainbows. We got some Buenos Aires tetras, Goiter River rainbows, turquoise red spot severum in here, blue regal, red sun. Really nice fish. Really bad lighting because, again, this is one of the top tanks and it didn't have a light above it. But gorgeous fish. That millennial red rainbow is really gorgeous. I'm sorry. Emerald rainbow. What am I talking about? Oh well, anyway, coming down here, we got some bleeding heart tetras. There'd been some Bolivian rams. I don't know. I don't remember if they were still in there, if they had been sold. But bleeding heart tetras in here. That orange seam pleco L106 down there under that rock. Never did get a good look at him, at least not to where you could tell on camera, just because of the lighting of him being down there under that rock. And the sign had said red coolie loach. I was excited about that, but they were already sold. But up here, we've got some green face Celosi, Enterochromis paropolis, Tramedochromis intermedius cambrii, and sunshine peacock in this tank. That's a mouthful of cichlids right there. But very nice looking, for sure. And here's the Millennium Red Rainbow. This is what I was thinking of. Very pretty fish. And we got some black skirt tetras in here with him. We got Western Rainbow. Sign said Kamaka Rainbows. I believe those were sold out, however. Kamaka Rainbow may be my favorite. And then Biatodoma waverni in here as well. And then here we got some longfin neon barbs in this next tank with some hecali. Got the Geo hecalis in here. And here we've got some veil, we got some veil angels in here. Some of those half blacks are really nice looking. But then we've got some Geophagus wine milleri in this tank along with those angels. Some juvenile wine milleri in here. There's Ancestris hoplogenes in here as well. Some Corridoras, and you saw the leopard Ctenopoma, C-T-E-N, Ctenopoma. Those are a cool fish as well. And coming on down here, we've got some mono shrimp and neon tetras down here, as well as a cyprichromis, which was not marked on the tank, but we got some. I'm pretty sure. Are these leptosoma? I'm not sure, but we do have. They are sips for sure. I am sure that they are sips. I'm just not entirely sure what kind because it wasn't marked. But here in the next tank, we've got some Epistogramma Hongsloi red. Nice little epistos. I may end up with some epistos here in the near future. Maybe not these guys, maybe some Panduro. I'm a big fan of the Panduro. And I've got a couple of 20 gallons I'm going to be setting up soon. And may go with some dwarf cichlids. Here we got some albino zebras hanging out in this tank. Some boisterous fellas here. And moving over one more, we got some Copetochromis chrysognatus, Teniolethrinops fursicata nicketi, and some Mdoka flametails. I like the Mdoka flametails. These are juveniles, but if you Google the Mdoka flametails, that's a sharp looking fish. And here we got some Animalachromis thomasi and longfin albino bristlenose in this tank. And these thomasi are really cool looking. Very nice fish. And I kind of ended up just sitting and watching these guys for a while. I'm thinking a tank with these would be pretty sweet as well. I mean, look at that guy. That is a cool looking fish. Really nice looking guy right there. And here we've got some gold silver tip tetras. Now these were awesome, especially watching them in this big group like that. It was just really nice to see. Really good looking group of fish right here. I mean, they've got gorgeous color. One downside, the store owner did warn me that they're a bit like piranhas, and you guys know some tetras can be nippy, but I'm thinking, a 29 gallon tank full of those guys would be definitely worth having. Here we've got some flavescent peacocks, some Otopharynx oromarginatus, as well as some Venustus in here. And we've already established I'm a fan of the Venustus, and as the peacocks as well. And that's a nice looking fish in this tank as well. You got the peacock hanging out back there, the flavescent. And coming down here, another really nice fish. We got some black calvus down here, and those guys were looking sharp. And some longfin albino bristlenose, some more of the sips in here as well. Again, I'm not sure what kind of ciprichromis these were, but definitely sips for sure. And those black calvus, I love the calvus. I mean, they just got a face that just looks like a grumpy old man. I just think that's hilarious. And I think they're cool looking. And these guys had some bold coloration too. That blue on black is really sharp. And then here in the very last tank of our tour, we got some cherry barbs, a tried and true favorite. There's some nerite snails as well as these Nanochromis nudiceps. This guy's kind of hanging out here behind the leaf, playing a little bit of peekaboo there, just popping in and out. He was kind of like he was hiding from the camera, but then he just kind of comes out and is like, all right, fine, I'll come out and say hello. So this guy was a nice little fish. And I hope you guys enjoyed this tour. Again, I apologize for my voice and my inability to pronounce all of the cichlid names, but I appreciate you guys watching and joining us for another fish store tour. God bless you, fish nerds. I'll see you next time.